really wish I would have waited until I was done digesting this album before I made my best list of 2018. About a year and some change ago, Freddie Gibbs dropped an album called You Only Live Twice, where he talks about how he had to deal with being falsely accused of rape and stuck in an Australian prison. Now, in that album, he talks about all the mental pain and agony and the worry that's going on in his mind. Also, coming to the realization by the end of the album that none of the shit that he used to care about really matters. All that really matters is his family, the ones he holds closest to him, the people he should really be appreciating. That's kind of the conclusion he comes to by the end of the project. But I was curious to know when we were gonna get a follow-up to Pinata. Bandana still on the way, and I was assuming that at some point we were gonna get a follow-up to this. It's kind of like a story within a story, in my opinion, and I feel like Freddie is the perfect follow-up. The explanation of a guy who's still fighting his demons, as a guy who kind of returns from that situation. He comes back to, you know, the hood or his own area and says, what the fuck has been happening while I've been gone? At least this is the way I'm interpreting it. I feel like he's been trying to do the right thing for a while, or he came to that realization, but going back to the same area, you kind of stir up old habits, which is why we kind of get similar subject matter from Freddie Gibbs on this project. You would think after a guy who made You Only Live Twice last year, we'd get a totally different album, but we really don't. And I think that kind of helps to explain why he's fighting with his demons on this project. I think with the Teddy Pendergrass inspired album cover and interludes like the Fuck Me Something and the Triple Threat single, I think we kind of get a healthy representation of who Freddie is on this project. We get a guy who's obviously street, obviously gangster, but at the same time doesn't have an issue diving into those other avenues of himself and exposing who he really is as a man. You know, he has a romantic side, a sexual side. I think if anything, it just makes the character of Gangsta Gibbs that much more believable, knowing that he has these other extensions of himself that he's so open and willing to talk about on his own music. But you know, one of the biggest reasons I enjoy Freddie Gibbs is pretty much because of his gangster material, because of how hard of a rapper he is. And sure, you can say he's really not breaking down any barriers or any walls or really testing the waters when it comes to this album. He's staying pretty comfortable. I just think for the time frame, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I mean, I could say an album like this may get repetitive with more tracks, but I think he knows where to cut it off so that it doesn't get old quick. Another thing I was pretty surprised at was how much attention to the hooks that Freddie paid on this project. I mean, I've expected from most of his albums before that he was kind of paying attention to the melodic element of the tracks, but with this one, as far as the hooks are concerned, I find myself repeating the hooks a lot more. I find myself repeating the lines in the chorus a lot more, and it's not just on one song. It's fully automatic, fully automatic. It's automatic. Fuck the crib, I'm in the basement with the bagging up. Told my mama I stop serving if I go platinum. I mean, some of the hooks are just incredibly infectious, and I stick to my reasoning for saying that this is an album that focuses a lot on Freddie Gibbs' internal struggle, dealing with the street and dealing with what matters most to him, because even on the final track Diamonds, which has beautiful vocals from Cassie, it also features vocals from his daughter, Irie, I believe. Now, these aren't vocals, but you can hear her voice at the end of the track, and it's kind of signification that this is still what Freddie Gibbs wants to protect, but he still understands and acknowledges what's making him money. He actually references that in an earlier track. Fuck the rap shit, I'm only here for the money. I say that he struggles with having to deal with what matters most to him because he also references people paying for stolen chains. It was a thing that was incredibly popular when Freddie Gibbs was in prison. A lot of rappers were getting their chains stolen, snatched, and then paying for them behind the scenes to get them back, which also just helps my thought that Freddie Gibbs is looking at this like, the game is fucked up, I need to make a return, I need to put some music out, these dudes don't know what the fuck they're doing. There's also some pretty funny lyrics in here too, like where he says he's gonna trade these hoes like Kyrie, I'm LeBron, but the one that pulled on my heartstrings the most was Death Row with 03 Greedo. Not only was I not expecting this track to make an appearance or Freddie Gibbs to be the one to remake it or do his rendition of it, I wasn't expecting 03 Greedo to keep so much of the spirit of the original track. Like, this is the same track for the most part, same structure, but they have so much more of an overbearing presence and so much more dominance. Even the bass is so heavy over the original. Listen to this man's voice. Listen to it. All in all, all, just a very enjoyable track listing here. Not too much, not too little. I mean, another point that leads me to that in the final track is where he says he's still popping pills, he's still doing prescriptions to some extent. He still has these issues and these struggles while still trying to maintain focus on the most important thing in his life, which is his daughter. Now, while it's not a follow-up to Pinata, it's a follow-up, in my opinion, to You Only Live Twice, which was a pretty decent project to me. I like this one a lot more because it maintains its street vibe. Gangsta Gibbs makes an appearance all over the track listing, but still shows his human form and shows that he knows how to get into his man bag, if that makes sense. When I say that, I just mean that he is comfortable showing multiple sides of himself. So it isn't just a one-track mind the entire project, even though for majority of the album, the streets are a heavy influence. This is a must if you're a Freddie Gibbs fan. If not, I would rank it in the same realm or even better than Daytona with Pusha T. All in all, I really enjoyed it though. Wish I would have waited to include it in my best albums of 2018 so far. Freddie Gibbs, Freddie. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Very enjoyable. And let me know what you think in the comment section down below, what your favorite track was. And I will see you next time. I'm out. Peace. I'm listening to that Death Row track again right now.